But what we've also understood for too long is that some communities have consistently had the odds stacked against them. That there's a tragic history in this country that has made it tougher for some. And folks living in those communities, and especially young people living in those communities, could use some help to change those odds.
Yeah, I know. We give them no help. Welcome to Gimme 5, my Brother's Keeper initiative. The president speaking about it yesterday here in New York City, and goes on and on and on and on and on. It's as if we've done nothing. It's as if he's not been president yet. It's as if he hasn't had 6 years. Didn't have the first 2 years to do anything he wanted. We got to do something for those people in Baltimore and Chicago and the inner cities. Yeah, good idea, Mr. President. What'd you think of it? It's been going on for 40 years, and it's been a miserable failure. 40 years, 50, almost 60 years. Here's more.
It's true of some rural communities where there's chronic poverty. It's true of some manufacturing communities that have suffered after factories they depended on closed their doors. It's true for young people of color, especially boys and young men. You all know the numbers.
Yeah. We all know the numbers. We all know the numbers. You know why those numbers are what they are? Breakdown of the black family, dependency on government, failed Democrat policies, murder, black-on-black crime. That's why, Mr. President. I know you'd love to blame the Republicans, wouldn't you? More.
By almost every measure, the life chances of the average young man of color is worse than his peers. Those opportunity gaps begin early, often at birth, and then compound over time, becoming harder and harder to bridge, making too many young men and women feel like no matter how hard they try, they may never achieve their dreams. And that sense of unfairness and of powerlessness of people not hearing their voices, that's helped fuel some of the protests that we've seen in places like Baltimore and Ferguson and right here in New York.
Yeah. Ferguson. False narratives led by people like you, Mr. President, the Justice Department, and the media is what led to the riots that we saw and the protests that we saw. And you know that. And how do you fix this problem? How? You think the answer is more money, more money, more money, more money? 22 trillion so far. And these are your results. And every one of these cities are run by Democrats and have been for years and years and decades. Failed, miserable policies of black dependency on the government and rewards for having babies after baby after baby. More.
The catalysts of those protests were the tragic deaths of young men and a feeling that law is not always applied evenly in this country. In too many places in this country, black boys and black men, Latino boys, Latino men, they experience being treated differently by law enforcement in stops and in arrests and in charges and incarcerations. The statistics are clear, up and down the criminal justice system. There's no dispute.
That's because blacks commit an overwhelming majority of the crime, even though they represent only about 14% of the population. Whose fault is that, Mr. President? The cops? One more.
If we ask the police to simply contain and control problems that we ourselves have been unwilling to invest and solve, that's not fair to the communities, it's not fair to the police. What we gathered here to talk about today is something that goes deeper than policing. It speaks to who we are as a nation and what we're willing to do to make sure that equality of opportunity is not an empty word.
Yeah. In other words, more money, more money, more money, more failed cities.